All right. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Lou.
So we're doing this on Tuesday night.
Yep,
Monday didn't work out so
not
great.
for me.
You had a you had a crappy Monday.
Yeah, yes. Doing stuff I shouldn't have to been doing, but it's over now.
Yeah,
Fixed it.
my Monday
Yeah.
wasn't so good either. My Tuesday was better, so that's good.
Yep, yep. So anyway, didn't get a chance to eat lunch all day. Had a couple beers, couple shots, came back, made food, got real tired, and I was done. So today is much better. I came straight home from work.
Well, we're in week two. This is the second podcast ever.
Yeah, there's very big difference between the two of us. You're undefeated in first place, and I'm tied for last. I only got like
Yeah,
one win and
one and
eight
eight.
losses.
Yeah.
Starting off the week all right though, because got a 91 point day yesterday. So start my Monday off that way at least puts me up. So we'll see. Maybe I can hand you a couple losses this week.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to continue at nine this pace, 1,000 percentage. So
Well, you're off to a good start, man.
yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
when the
off
last
to a
time I
real good
started off.
start.
I don't think I usually start off that great, so it's good. It's better than starting bad. But yeah, I know I can't count on these crappy pitchers I have to continue to pitch so well. So I know the regression's coming.
Never know. Never know how long they can go.
I was hoping if I spent only $2 above the minimum on my staff that if I could be maybe just not in the bottom two, from pitching points for the year, I would have been like, I guess that's all right. If I
Mm.
could be like slightly below average, but so far it's been better than that, so that's good.
Well, you're definitely playing some Billy ball on the pitching aspect.
Yeah,
uh, I don't know, what's the rest of the league look like? You got
yeah. I'm
those
gonna
stats?
I'm gonna pull the standings up if this works, and then we'll just take a look at that. All right,
Here we
all
go.
right. Are you seeing the standings?
There they are.
Okay. Well, we got Knockers are in second, and
Of course.
Hack and Sombreros. KOD had Sombreros in fifth, so they liked. I think they liked Sombreros for the most improvement over last year. At least
Oh,
most places in the standings,
thing I like about Hack in that spot is that he's only made three moves all year.
anyway.
You know, what he's playing with is what he drafted for the most part. And that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and
Nice start.
he's doing well. I don't know if I can't. Maybe I'll try these reading glasses. Yeah, he's off to a good start, and KOD always likes Hack. So you see, McBride's is on the bottom now, tied for the bottom with you, and
Yeah, I've got
they,
30 more points than him. That's the only difference.
and Bizzotti leapfrog both of you guys, and then the rest of us are just in the middle there. And two
Well, if
wins
there's
each
any
other.
time for a 6-0, I need one this week.
Yeah. Well, you lead the Buddha. If we see the Buddha down here, I don't know if I can scroll down with the screen. I think it's just stuck. Oh, maybe. Um, did the did your screen
Yeah,
move too? Okay.
yeah, I can see it. It's
So
fine.
well, you're leading Buddha, but it's just a win. It's like instead of 1-8, you should be 2-7. So or 2 point.
Explain Buddha just so people who don't know
Sure. It's
understand it.
this number in the gold box is the amount of points on average above or below the average that results in an extra win. And that's we do that. It's not a set number. It's just changes based on what the standings say. So and this is rounded to the nearest whole number. So you can see Bizzotti is 3-6, and he deserves to be 1-7 according to this. But I think we'll take the 3-6. And so obviously, as the year goes on, it can get really crummy for some people. If you need like 4 or 5 win difference
Mm.
from average, and then another guy might be 4 or 5 win, getting lucky. So it can. I think last year was the year that I think Let's Play was one of the Buddha leaders, and paging Satchel was one of the lucky laggards. So, and I think it added up to like 9 wins or something. I could be wrong. This is just off my memory, but
Wow.
anyways, you can see like who's getting lucky and who's a little unlucky, especially if, as we get more data in here. It's only a week and a half
What it's saying is I'm the most unlucky one of the group.
so far. Yeah, there's a little bit of Buddha that wouldn't be attributable to luck if you are smart about maybe on Sunday night, maybe not playing some guys if you don't need the points, or if you're like way behind in a week, like there's no hope. Maybe
Well,
you just I think somebody did that last year. They just sat everybody down on the Sunday, like the first half week of the season. I think they just sat everybody down because any points they get, they were still going to go to 0-3. So anyway, so there's some aspects of this that are by design and not by luck, but most of it's luck.
yeah.
Most of
That's
it's luck.
one thing I have been doing though, is if you're not starting a game, if you got an X by your name that you can play, I kind of just sit those guys now because if they come up and bat one time and go 0 for 1, well, then you just lost the whole game.
Yeah, it counts as a game. That's why I
Yeah.
hate.
And it just, to leave those guys in, and when I do leave them in, it's usually because I forgot to check my fucking, you know, I
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like the game already started, and then you see the red X. But I guess for me, the only one that I think I'm just going to leave up is like catching, because I'm always under in catching because I don't stream. If you don't stream catchers, I don't know how you're going to end up filling all the games at catcher, unless you stream. I mean, I have 3 catchers, and I try my hardest, and I've never been able to get the maximum. Plus, our max games is 161 this year, and last year was only 157 because 2021 still had some residual effects of COVID. There was
Right.
more games missed in 2021 and 2022. It was back to, for the most part, COVID wasn't much of a factor. I didn't use the 2020 year because that was just a crazy year and it was a short year. So that was the only year in recent memory that I didn't update this stuff. We just used 2019 stuff again for another season
Right, right.
to figure out maxes and stuff, game played maxes and innings pitched and stuff. So
So then you got some other tabs down there?
yeah, well, I've got the glance tab, and by design, I always send the file with the glance tab first because I figure people will skip it; they'll just want to see the standings. But anyways, this has your players of the week, so you can see 3 gags, and there was Matt Chapman for the Knockers, Bo Bichette, middle infielder for the Cows, and then Drew Rasmussen for Spear, and then somebody that nobody has. I think he's on Philly.
Ori Moreta?
Yeah, it's usually a reliever that gets at least a win or something like that, because the win counts as 7.
Well, it sounds
So
like cat's out of the bag now.
yeah, but I don't think anybody's going to pick up Moreta. Last week I think it was Chafin, so right, or maybe somebody that worked
Yeah,
on.
the hog hunting Andrew Chafin,
All
Kenny
right, so
Powers.
here's the Buddha Kings and the Lucky Laggards we already talked about, and then this stuff gets more interesting as the season goes on. We got games played, overage and underage, and innings pitched, and so we can sort of see like maybe there's teams that are doing well that um, they're doing well because they've pitched more innings. Like, well,
Mhm.
Hack's doing well, and he does have a small overage, but it's so early. 18 innings is really nothing. Weekend
My,
war.
man, my hitters need to get going.
Yeah,
Holy Moses.
I forgot to put the numbers in this. Weekend Warrior, I think Spear was up a win and a half, and I think you were down 2 wins as the straw spinner from
Mm,
what you were at going into Friday.
yeah. Yep.
This
I did
is
not
new.
have a good weekend.
This is new stuff. The highest BABIP for hitters and lowest BABIP, for hitters and pitchers. So the highest BABIP, you would think that maybe they've been a little fortunate, but BABIP is not just luck, right? I mean, BABIP is fast guys have a higher BABIP, that kind of thing. Guys who hit the opposite field have a higher BABIP. So it's not
Mm.
all luck, but generally, on a whole team of 14 hitters, maybe Let's Play has gotten a little bit lucky, and maybe you've gotten a little bit unlucky with a 260 BABIP.
Wouldn't be the Buddha King if I didn't.
And then on the other side, looks like Baked has gotten pretty unlucky with their BABIP so far. I think that's supposed to be 366, not 466. So I think I screwed. I remember I put that wrong. I thought I corrected it. So
Uh,
McBride's is really 366 BABIP, and then Sombreros maybe you've gotten a little lucky with a 233 BABIP. But again, those aren't just 100% luck. I mean, there is some real skill involved in a low BABIP, or a high BABIP if you're a hitter. But anyways, I just put that in there. Maybe we'll see as the season goes on if that's even worthwhile. This year I did, which really doesn't take any extra work, just setting it up. But as far as during the season, I don't do anything for this. It just fills out, and I just thought it'd be fun to see, like, you can see what your team, OBP is, or here 292 OBP for the daddies, which is not too good. 339
Nope.
is the beer league average, and
Batting of average of 220. It's my hitters that are keeping me down.
you can see your OPS 667, and the league average is 769. The beer league average. This first line is the beer league average for the year, and then this is last year's MLB. I don't know. And then you can see BABIP, like I said, your K and BB percentage, stolen base percentage. Even though we don't keep track of caught stealing, I just figured whatever.
You run this through a program that gets you all these numbers, or do you do this all by hand?
No, I don't do it by hand. I just I just copy and paste from Yahoo the full standings thing, and that goes into this thing. And I convert the innings pitched into thirds of an inning, because they do it like 106.2.
Right.
So that's the only thing I do manually here, and then everything else just fills out once it's all set up.
So you've already got it, like all the columns programmed to add to this or that.
Yeah, I mean, I do this manually. I sort the standings part. I don't know.
No, that's pretty clever, man. That's some good Excel usage.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the work is in setting it up. And this year I had one extra step because I had this all based on 12 teams, and I didn't. I had some of these things I divide by the number of teams or whatever, so that was different. But so, anyways, in the rates and ranks thing, you got your fielding independent pitching, so that gives you another idea of maybe if you were getting a little unlucky or lucky with your pitching so far. K minus BB percentage, which I think is a really good. It doesn't have home runs in it, but it's a really good indicator. Better than K per nine or BB per nine. I think the percentages are much better because it's based on batter's face as opposed to innings. You could have an inning where you allow 6 hits and you strike out 2 guys, and then it's 2 strikeouts per inning. Wow, that's great. But if you look at per batter, no, it wasn't that great.
Huh.
So anyways, and then this underneath of it is your ranking. So if you don't want to just look at the numbers, you can see where you rank real quickly. So in hitting, daddies are last in OBP, last in batting average, 10th in slugging. So you're doing bad in your hitting, but you're
If you look at my players, they should be hitting. They're just all off to slow starts.
but here's some things that make that are better. Like you're also last in BABIP, so that means at least you've got to be at least a little bit unlucky so far, if not a lot. And so your pitching, you can see your ERA and your FIP are the same, but let's see somebody who's got a big difference. This person's Satchel is 9th in ERA, but 4th in FIP, so he's probably gotten a little unlucky. I mean, you don't know for sure, but it looks like it. But anyways, I don't know. Is that enough of looking at the stats?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. No, you know what? I rarely go to that side of it, to be honest with you. I kind of look at and then I keep track of my own. I got a little scorecard that I do from Thursday. So when you send out where we're at up to Friday, then I fill it in and do the rest of the weekend. You know what I mean? So
I should add that some of these are estimated. I think put little asterisks because we don't keep track of sack flies or whatever. So those things I use like an estimate based on last year. But these numbers are going to be really close to what they actually are because some of that stuff is so minor. You
mm-hmm.
have a handful of the sack flies, and then
we even look at like save percentage. It's like,
I have
okay,
that. I have that in here.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, yeah. So, figure what the hell. So we're at 80% as a league. Last year, the MLB was 65%. You can see our stuff. So, I figured if you're really bored sometime, this is
Right.
probably a good little fun thing to look at.
No,
Doesn't
that's really cool.
it doesn't mean anything for the points of the league, but you can sort of. I guess the hope is that maybe you can see who's been getting a little lucky and who's probably got better days ahead.
Well, too, if you want, you could always go back and see how much got your batting average up from 2 months ago from one of these.
Yeah,
You send one out every week. So, I mean, if you at least keep those emails, you can do a little history on your team throughout the whole thing and really analyze what the hell is going wrong.
yeah. So,
Hopefully sooner than later.
so there's that,
Might
and
be
these
open to some trades.
these are like runs created. This is like what a lineup of your hitters would produce. 9 hitters of your 14 spots would produce in a game. Theoretically, this is with unearned runs including unearned runs. Same thing with pitching. So the runs created per game should be higher than the ERA. You can see runs created games like 4.46 for our pitchers, and the ERA is 4.18. FIP is 3.97. That's theoretically supposed to be the same, but FIP is always it's a pretty simple stat, but it's got a constant that changes each year. So this year's FIP is using last year's constant, and at least the way I have it on here, I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to change the constant during the year. Even if I could, I'm not going to do that. So
Yeah, my ERA would be a little bit better if it wasn't for that Finnegan game.
my crappy pitchers have a 3.46 ERA, and my FIP is 4. And my BABIP's 271, and the average is 301. So all those say that, like, yeah, even if they continue to pitch how they have, I wouldn't do as well, and they probably won't
Right.
even, and they also probably won't pitch as well. So, but anyways, but who's doing really well? Holy Cows have a 2.83, 3.04 FIP, so only slightly lucky on BABIP. So that looks like a good pitching team. But I think he spent money on pitching, didn't he? I can't remember, but
Yeah. Well, here's the thing now. Things are going to change a little bit with some of the injuries that have happened around the league. So, uh, O'Neal Cruz, what are they saying? He's out for almost 4 months.
yeah. First, I thought they said like 8 to 9 weeks, and then it was like 4 months. That's not 8 or 9 weeks. That's like 17
That's
weeks
most of
or
the
something.
season. Maybe he might come back in September. And if so, man, I mean, he's got like, isn't his injury kind of similar to Carlos Correa's? And then that's why he was like failing those physicals and stuff when he was trying to get traded.
Yeah, I'm not even sure, but yeah, it is an ankle.
If you think about it too, this dude is 6'7". Because of this one injury, is he done playing shortstop?
Yeah, I don't.
Is he going to have the mobility he used to? I mean, it's broken ankle's not an easy thing.
He's such an interesting player too, because we know that these don't always add up to being a good baseball player, because there's been good players that we all like that don't have anything to back it up except that they're just good. But
I
he's
actually,
got the strongest arm, right? He threw the fastest ball in the infield last year. He also had the highest exit velocity of any hit last year. So he can hit with power. His arm is great, but does that add up to being a good baseball player or not?
they put something up on the TV when they were playing the White Sox, and it was super interesting. So basically, so far this season, his average exit velocity is 91.5. His average velocity at throw to first, 91.5. I'm like, what are the odds?
Well, I
But
was
it's
hoping. I'm thinking about the Mets without Diaz, and they've got David Bednar, who is a good closer,
mhm.
and one that I expect that come August 1st, he might not be on the Pirates, and then he'll get traded to a team, and then won't be the closer in that new team, and then his value to my team will be less. But anyways, for the Mets, I
Well,
was
that happened
thinking,
to Raziel Glacius last year for me.
that for the Mets, would the Pirates go for a what's his name? Oh God, I'm blanking on his name now. I was gonna say Amat Rosario. The tall shortstop that they have in the minors, AAA right now.
Oh,
He's got power and not such a good approach. Oh my God. I can't believe I can't think of his name. It'll come to me, I think. Jeez. Well, I was wondering if the Pirates would go for like a Drew Smith, who's a young reliever for the Mets, and this shortstop for David Bednar or something. Maybe they'd say like, but I don't know.
Making fantasy trade things in your head.
Yeah.
So,
What the hell's that guy's name? Come on. Yeah, I
I
should.
don't really, to be honest with you, I haven't really been paying attention to the Pirates prospects.
No, it's the Mets. He's a Mets prospect, and I just, well, he's a shortstop, and then probably he's going to have to move to third. But they already have Beatty there, and of course they have Lindor at short. So now they're talking like maybe he could learn to play the outfield or something. But
Oh,
I wonder if he's the kind of guy that the Mets. I mean, he does have a ton of power. Like he can hit a homer like deep. But I just wonder if they don't think that he's ever going to be a smart hitter, and maybe you trade him now, and maybe his value wouldn't be any higher than it is now. Oh my God, what the hell is his name?
you get a Brett
Um,
Beatty?
it's not Beatty. It's do I think what?
I said, do you think they're going to be bringing up Beatty pretty
I
soon?
do, I do. I feel bad for Escobar because he had a slow start and he did hit a homer. In that game, he hit a homer. He had two hard hits before that, so he's not like he's done. But I feel like if he goes into a funk and the Mets are falling behind the Braves or something, I think that they would bring up Beatty. There's not too much reason to not have him playing third any after
And
this.
Escobar is pretty much a bench role from there, unless he's traded.
Yeah, he's well liked in the clubhouse for whatever that's worth. So I don't know if that would be the greatest thing for them to just like see ya. I don't know. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
think.
hopefully, if they bring him up, they just play him. Because man, I tell you what, that would be the worst thing is bring him up, and then all of a sudden, I got this guy that plays every 3 days. Uh, anyway, another injury, Adam Duvall.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that because actually, if I can, maybe I'll share that. You can talk when I share this screen. I just have the just the player list on Yahoo with the top hitters right now, and Duvall still is on top of that list, even though he's been hurt for a few days now, right? Oops.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be out a little while. Let's see other notables that got hurt. For Fernando Tatis Jr. is coming back off the suspension list. That's in the opposite direction here, but
On
that's
the
just another
20th.
weapon in Larkin's cannon here. Another cannonball. So he's let's see how he does. He hasn't played in a while. I mean, he was able to do spring training, but
So you see that Duvall still on top.
not for long.
Matt Chapman's turned around pretty nice. That's also a knocker. Olson and Alvarez. Alvarez, you would expect to see up there. Trout
Oh,
still
sure.
still hitting. Rosarena also for the Knockers. Wow, so Knockers got some good hitting production, but the Duval thing's not going to help. James Outman for Spear. That's something. Bogarts and Glaber, a Yankee for the Cows. That's
Didn't
always
expect Glaber to be there.
and Acuna for the Sombreros. So, but Duval, that's I don't know. Is Duval out for a long time?
Yeah, it looks like it. I
Yeah, that sucks. I always liked. I think he's like been undervalued for a long time now. Like he hits for power, but he's not some slug in the outfield. He's a good outfielder. I think he's played center, hasn't he? At times,
Yeah, well, here's the thing. What he's got, I'm looking at the article right now, is a fractured wrist, but he's not going to require surgery. So that's good. But he's still going to be out several weeks of action, it said.
hmm.
Um, they don't have an expected time for a timetable of his expected recovery. And when I tell you what, hitters, man, when they get that wrist broken, they don't come back right away.
Yeah, sometimes
You
that's
know, It's real stiff. It
It's a
throws your
scary thing.
swing off. You know, it's almost like it's maybe sending shockwaves to your hands while you're hitting, and it kind of can affect put some pain in there. So
Yeah, I mean, I
it doesn't look good for Adam Duvall for the season.
a lot of hitters come back off a wrist injury and it's not the same. It's at least for a while, at least for this year. That could be because the power it's more of a power thing. But I don't know what the injury is, and if it doesn't require surgery, that I guess that's certainly better than requiring surgery. So who
All
knows?
right.
Maybe he'll come around. But I thought that was a smart signing by the Red Sox, and then you know
Carlos Rodon started the throwing program, so he might be on his way back. Uh, Severino, who's out with a lat, he's scheduled to throw a bullpen session. And then we had Joey Gallo, who's out. He just went down. O'Neill Cruz, this big one. That's the big one. Tony Gonsolin, it sounds like he's not going to join the rotation until like May. So I think John's got him.
was it Gonsolin?
Yep. He's not going to be joining the rotation anytime till like May. So he's going to be out a few more weeks. Max Fried still out with a hamstring. So he may not require a minor league rehab assignment before joining the Braves rotation. We'll see. And those are the notables.
Got some the top pitchers here. Arias for Hack and Kyle Gibson. And, that's his preseason ranking was 1,870. Currently, it's five. So, we'll see how that goes. Dylan Cease for the Dads. At least one guy's been has been successful with the dad on the dad staff there.
But look at the next two, though. They're both Tampa Bay pitchers. They're both 53. They both only started 2 games, and they
Yeah, I
pitched
was gonna.
13 innings instead of. And that leads me to like what you wanted to talk about was the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Yeah, I mean, I did notice that here we got the leaders, and then these guys only have 2 starts, and they're up there. So Springs and
Yeah.
Rasmussen, that's pretty nice.
Uh-huh. And then you look at Kyle Freeland down there. He's 2 starts already, and he's only a point back, 52. The same with Stroman.
Very nice.
So if those guys have another start under their belt, they'd be right at the top there.
Look at Seth Lugo. Always wanted to start for the Mets, and he was only a spot starter, swing man, long reliever. He finally gets his chance in San Diego, and through 2 starts, he's on the leaderboard here for Spear. So I think I don't know if it's true currently, but I know a couple years ago he had the highest spin rate on his curveball of anybody, the RPMs or whatever. I don't. I hear that stuff and it's interesting, but I don't draft that way or something like, ooh, this guy's got a
Beer's got 3 on that
2,530
list.
stuff.
Yeah, he's got 3 on that list. Dave does.
Herr Steiger.
Yeah, his pitching is like no other.
How did Tampa get Drew Rasmussen? What trade was that?
I can look it up real quick.
But they on MLB Now last night they had a little special on the Rays when they were 9-0. Now they're 10-0, and they were winning tonight. I don't know if they won, but just all the little things they do. They have one free agent that they signed on the team. That's Eflin, and everybody else is brought up through the system or through trades, and a lot of them are done through trades. Like they just trade all the time. Even they trade with smart teams, and they still win the trade. It's like if the Rays are interested in your guy, I would really I would have a big meeting with everybody and go like, okay, what do they see here that we don't see, because they're almost always right. I mean, almost always right.
So Drew Rasmussen was traded with JP Firereisen. It's hard to say that name, Firereisen. To the Tampa Bay Devil Rays for Willie Adames and Trevor Richards.
Oh, so we're done. So Rivers got a good player too, but I guess
yeah.
they were willing to trade it down because they had Franco.
Yeah, you're talking about a trade that worked out for both sides. I mean, there you
Yeah, and
go.
that's not a steal anyway. But there have been some bad ones. Well, that one with the Pirates, right? That was bad.
Was that Austin Meadows?
That was the one for Archer. Um,
Oh, Chris Archer. Yeah, they got Chris Archer to the Pirates, and then Austin Meadows went to Tampa, didn't he?
and Glass now, I think.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
I think that that was a bad one. uh, you know, taking advantage of the Pirates. That's mean. That's like
No, you know what? Pay your players. You know, tired of the, everybody gets like a big amount of money, uh, a big amount of money to be an MLB team. This all this MLB money comes to all these teams. The small market guys just kind of pocket that shit and don't put it back into the team. They just say, "Oh, we're a small market team. We can't afford it." Yeah, you can fucking afford it. Give me a break. Try poor.
the Rays payroll is still. It's always in 25th or worse, and they've consistently won. We all know about the Rays, but it's just funny, like to root for a team like the Mets, who are what are they gonna? Are they gonna be able to have more wins than the Rays at the end of the year with an extra what $250 million in payroll? I mean,
Right.
you could have you can have the Padres and the Rays together have like the Mets payroll. I mean, come on, and that's it's a hard team to take pride in. It's all based on my when I was like 6 years old. I mean, the feeling I have about the Mets is certainly not. I'm certainly not proud of what a great organization they are. Because we know they're not. I mean, at best they are, uh, below average organization.
Yeah. And
And I
they've got
wish I
their
could think.
lumps, but man, I'll tell you what, those 80s heydays with those guys, man, they had a great team back then. Oh,
Oh
so
yeah,
here's the Pirates. This is what the Pirates traded was Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow, the Tampa Bay Rays for Chris Archer. Now, since then, well, actually, the other part of it was Shane Baz, B.A.Z.
mm-hmm.
The Pirates sent him to the Rays to complete the deal later on. So he was a player to be named later.
And then they traded Meadows,
Meadows got traded for Isaac Paredes.
who's playing third now.
Yeah, and
And
he
so I
actually
mean,
that guy's got some power. He just hits them in bunches. He won't hit for about say 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden he'll hit like 7 home runs in like a week and a half, and then go back to not hitting so much.
but I mean the Rays, like even if they might make a trade and then they make another trade for it. Like they don't do like for instance, here's what the Mets did last year. They traded JD Davis and three other guys. I guess there were three prospects. I actually, honestly, I didn't really. I don't think they were the top prospects. At least um, the year before when the books that I read were written. I don't keep on top of the prospects like I should. But anyways, the Mets traded. It was four guys for one for Darren Ruff, who they released this year. I mean, and the Rays, you're just not going to see that. If they get four players, they're probably going to keep to them. They're going to be starters, and then they're going to trade another one and get two more. Like
That's because they can
very
develop
rare.
people. They develop people going through their pipeline.
Yeah. So
Must have some damn good coaches. And you know what? They don't. I'm sure you know, they've got where are their minor league teams from? Where's Tampa minor league teams out of?
I
There's
don't
got to be
know.
like out of Florida too.
Probably, but yeah, I don't know. I can barely tell you the Mets. Like the
Yeah.
Mets,
True.
maybe the Yankees. um, but anyways, I don't know. The Rays are amazing. I mean, it's amazing. Like I think I sent out an email that if the major league teams were in the beer league, this is how much money they would have to spend. And this is like, so it's like those teams like the Rays would have, I don't remember what the numbers were. It was like 100 and something dollars instead of 366, like most teams get. And then like the Mets would have had 830. It's like, it's a little unfair, right? Like
Yeah.
this he's got more than twice as much as the rest of us as the average team to spend, I don't know. But luckily, the Mets aren't very smart. So this kind of helps even it out a little bit. Yeah, they spend way more, but it's the Mets. They'll be okay, but not like you think. Now, if the Rays had 377 million to spend, then that would probably be a big problem.
Well, speaking of making moves, uh, you saw the trade this week with Paul and Phil. The it was Kettle Marte for Vinny Pasquatina.
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
I didn't think anything. I mean, I do like Pasquantina's, upside. I didn't know anything about him, and I don't think he was like a highly touted prospect like Bobby Witt Jr. or something like that. But
Yeah, he
last
did come
year,
out of
he
nowhere, didn't he?
sort of, and with that name, you think Vinny, he's like this lumbering first baseman who hits like he could hit 40 homers and hit 180, but he's not like that. He had more walks and strikeouts last year, and he had I don't know if it was the top, but he was near the top in hard hit percentage, barrel rate, whatever they were looking at. I was like, you put those two things together, and this guy is a little bit more than you know than just somebody you can pass over. But I'm not a prospect scout, so I mean I don't know if I'm not necessarily predicting the future, but that sure sounds pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. If Kettle Marte gets back to the way he was a couple years ago, I think last year he was, I think, okay, but he was really good the year before, I believe.
Yeah, I've
I'll
had
say,
him. Yeah, I think he's on the. Generally, you would think that he's past his prime, but if Sats traded for him, it's kind of like the Rays, right? You do a little double take. So
well, he's only 29,
is he really?
and yeah, he's only
Yeah,
29.
see, I thought he was older.
You're thinking of Starling Marte, maybe. Oh,
No,
you know
no,
why? Because he's been in the
not
league
the,
a long time.
yeah, I'm not
So
going to start.
he
But
played
yeah,
57 games in the big leagues as a 21-year-old,
yeah, I
and the
didn't know he
following
was that
season
young.
119. So, the problem with him though is he's played some full seasons, but there's other times where he's gotten hurt. He hasn't played many games. So, I mean, last year he put up 240 as his batting average. The year before that was 318, and basically only two more home runs. He just didn't get on base as much.
Well, like I said too, if Satch is interested in him, you gotta study up a little bit and say, okay, what's going on here? Because he's not going to trade away Pasquantino if he doesn't know that Marte is good. So
Yeah, it was one of those things too. They might have been shifting on him, you know. I don't know, but that was kind of a good trade there.
yeah, interesting. I mean, I hope Vinny turns out well because I like him. I don't know much about him, but I mean I just like his name and I like his stats. I like that he you can hit the ball that hard and be discerning at the plate. Have more walks and strikeouts. That's hard to do for anybody, let alone a power hitter.
Yeah, well, in 72 games last year, I mean, he hit 295. His OBP was 383. He had an OPS of 832. That's pretty solid. 10 home
Yeah,
runs in 298 at bats this year through 11 games. He's got one home run. Batting average is 235, so he's off to a little bit of a slow start. He struck out 8 times in 41 plate appearances, actually 34 at bats. Um, that's his strikeouts are up a little bit. On base percentage is still 350. So, and his OPS as of right now is 762. So,
I mean, yeah, the only thing working against him would be that it's just last year. He hasn't done it for a few years. So,
right.
but yeah, there's nothing in there not to like. I know they had they have Bobby Witt Jr. They had a couple of first basemen, Nick Prado and Ryan O'Hearn, and
Yeah,
O'Hearn's gone.
Nick Prado was a big name last year, and then all of a sudden this Pasquatina guy just like leapfrogged him out of nowhere.
Yeah, because like
Everybody's talking about Prado.
yeah, I wouldn't talk about him, but anyways, yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting trade. So it definitely will make me look at Cattell Marte again, especially
Yep.
now that you told me he's 29, and I would not have guessed that. I don't know. I didn't think he was
It's
40, but I thought he was older, 29.
Yeah, he just came up young. They saw a lot in that guy. So, and he proved out to be a damn good ball player.
Sort of like Jay Bruce, like when he was getting bandied about in 2015, like maybe the Mets were going to get him, and because Bruce came up young too, and I remember I think he was 28, at that year when they were, and I thought I couldn't believe he was only 28 or something. It was anyways. Bruce is another, but Bruce sort of played and looked like a guy that was in his 30s, but
He was one of those guys that was a little overhyped, though. I mean, yeah, he had a solid career, but man, the way they talked about him was that, like, he was gonna walk on water as soon as he got in the league, and it kind of wasn't that.
yeah, he was a good player. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He's no Vinny Pasquantino. No, just
Yeah. Well, he was the number one pick overall, I believe.
yeah.
I can't remember what year that was, but it was way back there. Um, interesting thing that happened in the minor leagues.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Chattanooga Lookouts
I knew you were
against the
going to talk about
Rocket
that.
City Trash Pandas. Oy, oy, oy. So Rocket City threw a no-hitter and lost by 2 runs, 7-5. And
Crazy.
ask yourself, how the hell does that happen? Well, they got into the seventh inning. They only played 7 innings. Got into the seventh inning, and no hitter, no runs. Top of the seventh, Chattanooga Lookouts hit 7 runs on no hits, and this is how it happened. So it was a walk, guy on first. Another walk, guy on first and second. Fly out. Okay, guy at first and second, 1 out. Another walk, bases loaded.
And they're up 5-0 at this point, right?
5-0.
Yeah, in a no hit.
Strikeout. There's a strikeout. All right,
Two
there's
outs.
2 outs.
2 outs. Five
Bases
nothing.
loaded.
Crazy.
Walk. Here comes in a run.
All
So
right.
now it's 5-1. Then there's a 3-run error in center field. Okay. So now it's 5-4. All right.
Could they have given him a triple? I didn't see the hit. Like, could they have
It
given him a
wasn't a
triple?
triple. It was a 3-run error after a non-call third strike, iffy third strike. Okay. They didn't call it. So then there was a pitching change. All right. So basically, you got one guy on. All right. New pitcher comes in. It's 5-4. Pitcher hits the first guy. All right. Now there's 2 guys on. It's the second guy. Now the bases are loaded. It's the third guy scores in the tying run.
3 batters in a row.
Yep. Walks the next guy.
Oh my god.
That's another run. So now they're up 6-5. Wild pitch. Run scores. All right. So there's 2 guys on. Now it's 7-5. Hit by pitch. Now it's bases loaded. And then the next guy struck out. And then it was the end of the inning.
That's crazy. Still no hits.
No hits whatsoever. It's all walks and batters getting hit and errors and wild pitches.
In major leagues, they went back to the 1800s, and the most runs scored in a no hitter was 2 runs. But it happened, half a dozen times, but not 7.
That will
They
never
shattered
happen
that record.
again.
What?
That's the beauty of baseball. Shit like that can't happen twice. There
Yeah.
ain't no fucking way. And if it does, man, the game's rigged. This is just so fucking
I don't
odd.
know. I don't know if you saw it. I saw it because it was a Mets game, but Guillorme, yeah, it was Guillorme bunted with, I don't know, maybe a runner on first. I can't remember. Um, down the third baseline, and they let it go, and it just like straddled the chalk the whole time, and it ended up like an inch inside the chalk. So it was a base hit. And then Tomas Nido swung, full swing, wasn't a bunt, and hit it down the third baseline, almost the exact same spot as Guillorme's bunt. And it was Darvish that was pitching, and he let it go. And this one actually ended up on the chalk, but it was still a fair ball. And like, I mean, they were saying like in a season you might see 1 or 2 of those, but to see 2 in the same half inning was just amazing. And Darvish said after the game, like, he's either the luckiest or the unluckiest guy, on earth, whatever. I would say unluckiest. And they were talking about this. If you saw Darvish's line, you'd see 5 1/3 innings, whatever it was, or 6 1/3. I can't remember. 5 earned runs. And you'd be like, oh, Darvish didn't have it that day. And it's like, no, he was he pitched well. He got screwed. They brought in a reliever, then Lindor hit a double down the line, scored both those guys that got by in these chalk these chalk hits. I don't know. So it's funny, twice in the same inning.
Nice.
It's like Tatis's dad, Fernando Tatis's dad, hit two grand slams in the same inning.
Oh, yeah, I
Uh,
remember seeing that game. He was playing for the Expos.
yeah, I don't know what year it was. 99. I'm not sure what time. Late 2000s.
93 or some shit.
What was it that early? Yeah.
I think, yeah. Well, I don't think it was 99. I think he was playing. Well, let's look up Mr. Fernando Tatis
But
Sr.
you talk about records that aren't going to be broken, right? Johnny Vandermeer throwing back-to-back no hitters. Well, you'd have to throw three in a row to break that. So yeah, good luck. But I think hitting three grand slams in an inning, that's just, I don't think you can break that one. You might get you'd have to do two just to get your name in the record books with him. But
It's weird. It's how time gets away from you here. So I thought he was a lot older, a lot longer. But you're right. It was he was playing at 22 and 97, and that had to have been probably 2002 that he did that.
hmm.
He had 15 home runs that year. The other 2 years he played for Montreal, he had two each year.
Can you imagine? I mean, like how many players? What's the most homers that have been hit where the guy didn't have a grand slam? And then you got
Right.
this guy. You got Tatis two in an inning. How do you? I mean, to even get up in the same inning twice, that takes some doing. To get
And it
up with
also takes a team because guys got to get on.
the bases loaded twice, just even that's I don't even know how many times that's happened. And then to two grand slams, that's just crazy.
It's funny is it's not really funny, but the hard part with Tatis Senior is he just couldn't stay healthy. He missed 2004, 2005, came back 2006, played like 28 games, didn't play in 2007. 2008 came back, played 92, 125. I don't know if he was in the minors or if he was hurt or what the deal was, but yeah, he was batting 194 in 2003 that year, and then he didn't play for a while.
Yeah, I don't remember much about him. I mean, I remember him, but I don't
And it all goes back to that one inning where he hit two grand slams. And
remember.
after that, his career was cursed. He just couldn't think about it, anything else.
It's crazy. Well,
Oh, let's see what we're doing today here. Uh, get a good idea of where everybody's at so far on a Tuesday. Mr. Lollygaggers, you were doing pretty good. Got 47 for your hitters so far and 7 for your pitchers. Hey, bud. Still. And Mr. Hack Wilson, so far 36 on the hit, 40 on the pitch. Paging Dr. Satchel, 23 on the hit, 17 on the pitch. Capital Knockers are 30 and 7. Platinum from Sombreros at 24, 26. That's about 50 there. Gamblers at 25. No pitching points yet. So firm 25. Got Holy Cow's got 20 on the hit, -2 on the pitch. Grayson Rodriguez is stumbling a little bit. He is already out of the game. He's going to get that -2.
who was it?
Grayson Rodriguez, the wonder kind. And we're looking at let's play
Oh, for
with
the Orioles. Yeah, yeah,
50
yeah, yeah.
points hitting. Yeah. 34 on the hit, -2 on the pitching. Man, he's out of the game already too. He only lasted an inning and a third. Wisniewski gave up 2 earned runs, 4 walks. Larkin's probably laughing at me because I stole him in waivers. All right. And Mr. Bake McBride's having a pretty good day, 43 on the hit, 20 on the pitch. And Bazzotti, 24 on the hit. He's got 4 points on the pitching. That's where we're at 8:30 on a Tuesday.
Well, this is for the year, right? I'm sharing like the year. See who's got the most plate appearances for the year. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so 675 for the Spear and 165 games. And then who's got the most innings? We got 135 from Hack. So I always look at I wanna lead the league in plate appearances. Um, I'm trying to do that. I'm not doing it now, but I don't have as many games either. So
Really, with Hack, what's keeping him towards the top is his pitching. I mean, because and then whatever, he's not getting a whole lot of home runs, not as much as you or Sag below you or even the next few guys, but pitching is carrying him pretty big.
yeah, we got Let's Play has the least earned runs, but they also have only 71 innings. So, but well, we can the that rate stats thing that I put in the standings. You can look up your ERA at least through the week, not per day, but
As usual, my relief pitching sucks.
I
I
did
gotta
well with
figure that
I
out.
did well with like bargain basement relievers last year, but it's not really been the same for me this year so far. It's early, but I was like, geez, I can do just fine without spending any money on relievers, but maybe I was just lucky last year. So I don't know. Well, how long have we been here now?
I think it's been about 45 minutes.
Uh, Anything else you want to touch on? I think
I think I covered all the topics I wanted to touch on. A little bit of
yeah,
injuries.
I got nothing else. I don't think.
Well,
Mm.
oh, you know what? The reason why I'm wearing this shirt, I got a baby cake shirt, king cakes, uh, 50th birthday. This is the first time I ever done this. But I actually got a guy on my team that I personally saw for the first time with my own eyes. Never knew who he was. So down on my 50th birthday, go to this game, and it's the Iowa Cubs playing, you know, the baby king. Nobody goes to this baseball park because they are so fed up with the way they changed the name to the Baby Cakes. Everybody hates the name. So they hate the guy that owns the team, so they won't go. So when you go to one of their games, there's like maybe 20 people in the whole park.
What city is it?
New Orleans.
Oh! I thought it was up
Oh,
near Chicago.
yes. It says NOLA. Anyway,
New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm thinking Aranola, Osceola.
so I'm there and I'm just, chilling with Elizabeth and, balls are flying into the stands and stuff. And, you know, good old fun. It's one of those games that you will go to and everybody will get a ball. It's just they're always flying into the stands. So it's funny because I'm standing there, and this is when Ian Happ. I'm 50. I'll be 54 next month, so this was almost 4 years ago. Actually, 54 next week. So my 50th birthday trip was in May. So it's almost been 4 years, and Ian Happ was stuck in AAA because there was no room for him on the roster and stuff,
Oh,
and it
yeah,
was
Jason
him and some of the
Hayward
other.
and
There was some other guys out there too that I recognized that were kind of coming up and going down. And I just made this like, hey guys, I'm all the way here from Chicago. Don't embarrass me. And they shot me a look like, fuck you, dude. I got a big kick out of that. It was pretty funny. But anyway, um, so they get pretty much blown out and shut out and only given up 2 hits. And the pitcher that was going against him was Zach Gallen.
wow.
So I immediately went to see if Zach Gallen was in our as a free agent. Nobody had him. So I grabbed him and put him on my NA roster. And
I
I've had him
remember
ever.
that you liked Gallon from an early time. I remember that.
That guy threw smoke. Nobody can touch him, you know.
The Cardinals traded away Alcantara too, right? They traded away Zach Gallen and Alcantara, right? I think that might have been the Ozuna.
Sandy Alcantara?
Yeah, I think so. And that was in the Marcel Ozuna trade.
Hold
Of course, the
the
Marlins didn't
phone.
keep Gallen. They traded him to the Diamondbacks for who'd they get? I wish Sean was here. He would.
Well, let me bring it up here real quick before we get off, because now you got me thinking.
But anyway,
Easy.
somebody was saying the Cardinals would sure be looking good right now if they had Gallen and Alcantara. That was before Alcantara allowed 9 earned runs, but
Okay, so he was drafted 2016 by the St. Louis Cardinals in the third round of the 2016 amateur draft, and he signed.
that's
He was
Gallen.
traded. He was traded by the Cardinals with Sandy Alcantara,
Oh my,
Daniel Castano, Magneuris Sierra to the Miami Marlins from Marcell Ozuna.
oh
Boy,
boy.
they rue the day for that one.
Woo! That's a bad one.
Now, he was also traded by Miami to the Arizona Diamondbacks
Yeah,
for
that's the one I
Jazz
couldn't remember.
Chisholm.
Chisholm. Okay, okay.
Could you imagine if he was still in Arizona?
Chisholm?
They got some good players coming up. Yeah, Jazz Chisholm.
Yeah, I thought that it's possible that Arizona would be like the Orioles, last year, but really, I don't know. I mean, they're not going to be in the top. They're not going to finish higher than third. That would be. And the Giants are not bad. The Giants do some good stuff too with these journeyman starting pitchers. They come there and they turn them around, and then they sign good deals with other teams.
Well, Arizona right now is 7-4, so they're off to a good start. They've got a good like mix of like pitching and young hitting. You know, um,
They just don't have enough pitching yet. I mean, they're still tethered to Bumgarner.
yeah, but the guys that they do have, I mean, like Zach Gallen has been pitching well to start the year off. Ryan Nelson,
Right.
he's another one that's, he had really good games last year, so I think he's just off to a little bit of a slow start, but I think he's going to get going. It's just I just kind of picked them to do a lot better this year than they had before. Those young guys like Corbin Carroll, you got Josh Rojas, Christian Walker at first base.
I like
Uh,
Walker.
yeah, I mean now you got Gabriel Barrino as catcher. Not to mention somebody else. For like, oh, they got Carson Kelly, right? That their
Yeah,
normal
they have
catcher.
Kelly catcher still.
I think he's hurt though, isn't he?
I'm not sure. It
He
seems
might
like
be down.
he's hurt quite a bit. I heard Garver is hurt again, right?
Carver is hurt again. That's one of the
Who
guys I meant to bring up on the injury
do
thing. But
you?
he was
Who has him now? Do you have him?
no.
Oh,
I
I was
think
thinking he was the
I
Garver guy.
think I think does Tiger have both of them? He might
I'm
have
not
Heim
sure.
and Garver.
Heim and Garver, yeah.
Yeah, I think he has both.
Well, it's good news for Heim because there's not going to be any. Not that Garver was going to catch so much, but
And then, damn, we'll see when the Devil Rays lose a game. What's the like record? Isn't it like 19 by the Orioles to start the season off?
to start the season, I don't know.
Or was it? It was. I
There
know
was
it's.
they talked about the 82 Braves and the 87 Brewers, and it was like 13 wins for the Braves. I don't know if anybody's done more than that to start the year.
And then, I mean, the most games in a row won within the season's 20. Correct? It's like movie Moneyball was made after
Moneyball, yeah, they won 20, right? Is that
20. Yeah.
still the record? I don't know. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to have enough pitching unless it's possible that there's these young pitchers that I just don't respect enough. But I
Right.
know Kelly, he's a lollygagger and he's very mediocre, So I'll just be happy if he's his mediocre self this year. So,
I think the biggest surprise here too, on top of all that, is the start that St. Louis is having right now, starting out 3-7. Who saw that coming?
yeah, well, that's what they're saying. If they had Alcantara and Gallen in their staff, it would be a little bit better than having what some of the things they have down toward the end. I don't know. Matz, I don't know if he had a bad start to start the year. He's a frustrating guy because he should be pretty good pitcher, and he hasn't really been.
No,
Mm.
no. But your Mets are 6-5, so they're right behind the Braves. Go Mets.
Yeah. Did the Mets win tonight? Do you know?
Yeah, we can see here.
They were losing like 2-1, I think, when I came down here. So.
Let's see if I still have this. Yep, I do.
It
Your
was
Mets. The Mets are still playing, I believe.
Ryan Weathers started for the Padres. He's
They're at, okay,
David
so
Weathers'
it's the
son.
it's the bottom of the ninth, and San Diego is winning 4-1.
So that game's
As
over.
Pete Alonso is at the plate. Come on, Pete. Needs a new pair of shoes.
Swing at a pitch in the dirt. Go ahead, Pete. Come on. You got it. Pete got picked off first. They had runners on first and second. No, first and second, nobody out. I can't remember, but they ended up scoring 1 run in the inning on a sac fly by Cannon.
Oh,
But Pete got himself picked off first. It was Lindor on third. Lindor was dancing on third. Pete is he's not trying to steal, and he just gets picked off because you know, he's a big dumb polar bear. So.
hey man, those things don't. I was about to say they don't move that fast, but no, they do. Polar bears will get you in a heartbeat. I got a home run from Shea Langoliers today. Little catcher action in Oakland.
It wouldn't surprise anybody if Oakland still gets decent production out of catcher, even though they've just cycled through all these guys. Like Sean Murphy was, you know, usually most teams would be like, "Oh my God, we got this guy's good. Let's keep him." The
Hmm.
A's don't keep him. So.
Speaking of Sean Murphy, he had yesterday he hit a walk off. He had a 3-run walk off in the bottom of the 10th.
And Darno's hurt. I don't know if it's how long he's out, but I know he got hurt.
I never was big into him. He was okay, but
I
he's not
liked
one of
him.
those guys that blew me away.
I liked him when the Mets. I don't know how I knew this, and it'll sound like bullshit, like I really didn't know. But the day after the game that I saw, I knew the Mets were going to release him. And you have to understand how Mets this is because they signed him to an unnecessary extension, just maybe a month before then, before spring training, maybe it was 2 months, and then early in the season he had a bad game, and I think he threw the ball out into the outfield on a stolen base attempt, but even the throw wasn't bad. I can't remember too well, but I just remember that this it's like such a Mets thing to do. Unnecessarily extend the guy and then release him, and he's a good player. He just couldn't stay healthy for the Mets. And per plate appearance, he was as solid a catcher as you're going to find. And the Braves obviously took him, and he's been very productive for them. Although I guess he's hurt, but
Yeah.
the Braves realized even back before they had good catchers, they had just okay catchers, but they wanted to have two catchers of basically equal ability. They used to have Kurt Suzuki and Tyler Flowers, and they realized that those two guys together, were able to produce pretty good numbers, as a tandem, compared to having a really good starting catcher that you pay money for, and then a terrible guy, backup catcher. So I don't know. Now they're doing it at a higher level because now they've got Sean Murphy and Darno. So now
It
with the
seems
DH in the National League now, you can do the two catcher thing.
for sure. That was like what the Texas was doing a lot was throwing Garver in there as a DH and then keeping
Yeah,
Heim behind the plate.
right. And then when Heim needs a day off, then you suffer with Garver behind the plate. If he's bad defensively, I assume that he is, but I don't know that. Is he? I don't know.
There's a slugfest going on in Chicago. The Cubs in Seattle got a Suarez home run. Uh, got, a,
Eugenio.
got a Mancini home run. Got a Nelson Velasquez home run.
Hmm.
He was called up, and
You
then a
know
Jared
him.
Kelenic home run.
Who?
Jared Kelenic.
Oh, Kalanick. Yeah, that's the other part of the Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz and all that stuff. Now Diaz is hurt, and if Kalanick starts producing like we all thought he would, including the Mariners, obviously, that trade's going to hurt more. That
Well,
trade.
it's
That trade.
11-8 in the bottom of the fifth. Well, the bottom of the fifth is just over now. So the top of the sixth is going to be 11-8.
That
It's a
trade
lot of
still
runs.
drives me crazy. I mean, they got Diaz, which is great, but at that time when the Mariners traded Diaz and Cano to the Mets, that trade should have been Diaz and Cano for nothing. That would have been a fair trade because in order to take Cano's last 5 years of that deal, the 5 bad years, we'll throw in Diaz, a closer that we're not going to need anyway because we're not contending for a while. That should have been the deal, but not. Brody Van Wagenen, the agent turned GM for the Mets, he decides let's throw in Dunn, who was a pitcher that went to the Reds. Eventually, I guess he's not done much, so maybe that's nothing. But Kellenick, who was probably the top hitter in their top hitting prospect they had, and boy, I hated that deal at the time. And it's so funny with the Mets too. I hate to make this about the Mets, but the Mets would never have signed Cano to a 10-year deal, a middle infielder 10-year deal. No, we're not going to do it. But if you sign him, then you can trade him to us. We'll take the last 5 years of the deal. Like
Right.
you take the first 5, we'll take the last 5. I mean, just I know that it's not the same GM anymore and all this stuff, not even the same ownership, but it's hard to root for a team that is just consistently so stupid. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're the only dumb team. There's a few other really dumb teams out there, but the Mets are one of them, and it's just stuff that doesn't make sense. It's hard. It's hard to have pride in it. So this year when the Mets squeak out a wild card berth with their $370 million payroll, I mean, I'll be rooting for them, but it's not with the same fervor that you would think.
Yeah. Dansby Swanson is 4 for 4 today. And he just left the game for some reason. Just put Nick Madrigal in his place and moved Horner over to shortstop. So hopefully he's not hurt.
Madrigal was in the Mets spring training, right? Wasn't that the right? No, I'm thinking of Mendick. I get those guys mixed up all the time.
Yeah. Nick Madrigal. Sweet little swat Nick Madrigal.
I liked the things the Cubs did this offseason, at least with their hitting.
Yeah, they're trying to fill some holes, with guys they know that are solid and guys they know that can that have all been to World Series. They've had experience. So you got Dansby Swanson, you got Bellinger, you've got Hosmer, all those guys, and not to mention they've got 6 Gold Glovers in their infield, former Gold Glovers at one time or another.
Who do they have a catcher right now?
They have Gomes, and they have Tucker Barnhart, and they have that guy Torrens. But my computer's not plugged in, and my battery's about to go out.
Oh boy!
So I think this is a perfect time to end this episode.
I was going to talk about why the Cubs let Wilson Contreras go,
but I just don't think he was that good defensively. I don't think he called a very good game. That's the end result. I mean, you have a manager who was a catcher. Okay, they kind of saw him come up. I mean, wouldn't he know better than anybody if he was worth $16 million?
He would know more than Lou St. John. So
he's not lighting it up right now, so we'll see. But
it's I don't know. Just in general, it seems like the Cubs did a complete teardown, and I'm not sure they needed to do that.
I'm going to move over to my plug-in so I don't lose you.
Hopefully, by next year, they can win the Central. Winning the Central is not the hardest thing in the world. They're lucky. And I don't know. The complete teardown, it didn't seem like they needed to do that. But this year, I still think that they're probably not going to have enough starting pitching unless I'm really underrating the some of these young guys, Steele and these guys.
Right. Well, I mean, Wisniewski, he's got to kind of.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about him. So yeah. So
yeah, he was picked up in a trade with the Yankees.
Is that your doggy?
Yeah, that's Frank. Showing booty. Now he's getting adjusted here.
Hey, Frank.
Frank. Hey, what you doing?
Mysterious talking box. Hello, Frank.
Right there.
Hey. Roy?
He's like bored. All right, enough of that.
All right, Jeff. Well, I think edition 2 is over. If anybody's still watching, you get a special certificate.
Yeah, right. If you're still watching after the first one,
email Jeff, and then we'll send you a certificate that you can present at any Orlando area Sunoco station to get your free Save the Whales poster. Okay.
There you go. All right, signing off. See you guys later. Good
Okay.
luck this week, and talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are we still on? Oh, did you stop recording and we're still going?
I think it's still recording. God damn it. Why won't it stop recording? I hit the record button.
Because it's too good. It has to keep going.
Oh, no, what? Record on this computer, record to the cloud. That's all it's giving me right now. How do I stop recording?
Yeah, mine still says recording. Oh, I could stop mine, right?
Yeah, stop yours.
Okay. Stop.